Action! Go!
And we have a start in the Wyfold St. Neots against the Akademischer Ruderverein from Westfalen in Germany. And it's Sarah Cook here, and I'm delighted to be joining you alongside Helen Glover. We thank Martin Cross for his fantastic commentary once again. And we have quite a tight start here in this race, Helen.
Yeah, no, another good start, and both crews obviously clearly working really hard at the start here, starting to settle now. I don't think it'll be until they find their rhythm, until they start to settle, that we'll really see which crew's going to start taking the lead.
And over in the Buck station, here in the yellow boat, is the Akademischer Ruderverein Club from Westfalen in Germany. We don't know a whole lot about them. The crew raced at the Ghent Spring Regatta, but didn't really achieve any results of particular note over the season, but several of the members have raced at Henley before. And we're moving just a little down the track, and we can see that they do have a slight lead over St. Neots in the Bach station, and a little bit of a crossover, and we can see the umpire there with his flag flagging the German crew across. Of course, you must stay in your station and not infringe the other crews, but both crews really struggling in the washy water there.
Yeah, the water does it quite difficult there. I mean, I think both crews are doing really well to not get in any more trouble than they are with in terms of the blade work and the wash and dealing with it there.
And you'd know what it was like being in a coxless boat and having to steer some pretty crazy courses, but there's nothing quite like this event and quite like this venue.
No, exactly. I think the thing with Henley is you take your eye off the booms or take your eye off the course for one stroke, and you're doing exactly what's happened here, and you're veering off into the middle, you're veering into another crew, or into the side, into the booms, and both of them can just be destructive for your race and for your rowing.
Yeah, and a bit of a tough one here for the umpire, because the St. Neots crew, they were moving over, and now the Germans have moved back over, probably into the middle a little too far. We know that the umpire boat is in the centre of the course, and so that's a bit of a gauge for the viewer. You can see that St. Neots crew really struggling now, moving back over to the Germans.
Yeah, it's just difficult. And as soon as you start correcting, that's when it gets difficult, because you correct one way, and then you have to straighten yourself up, and often you can see an S, sort of an S shape, which is exactly what's happened there. They've kind of corrected and over-corrected again.
Yeah, I've steered here myself in a quad, and it's so difficult because you do get really nervous about those booms, so you don't want to get too close over that side. But then, of course, you can't obviously impinge on the crew that you're rowing against. So it's almost like riding a bike, where they say you want to look where you go, not what you want to avoid. But it can get a bit tough here when you're bouncing from side to side. But the Germans have recovered quite nicely. They've got a nice straight course in their correct station, and with about a length's lead over St. Neots in the Bach station in the light blue rowing suits.
Yeah, I definitely think the Germans having that little lead as the steering started to become an issue probably helped them, because they could see where the other crew was, and they could kind of sort out their course from a strong position rather than from a vulnerable one.
Yeah, keeping their composure there nicely as the crew on the right-hand side, St. Neots, did infringe on them a little, and it's so important. We heard Sarah Winkler this morning saying that from an umpiring perspective, that it seems that when crews are flagged down, that people start to change the pressure that they're rowing on, which then starts to really snowball the steering problems that you might be having if people start getting a little bit flustered, alternating their pressure, and then all of a sudden the boat is really hard to go straight.
Yeah, I think the thing is, in this situation, they're both boats are still racing so hard as well, so they're racing hard, trying to keep a straight line, and if you're not steering and you feel yourself going off, it's easy to make those little corrections that are unnecessary. You shouldn't go lighter, you shouldn't go harder, you should let that steering person, take the lead. But it's tough when you're racing and you are aware that you're not taking the line you need to be taking.
Yes, that's right. And a little bit of overlap here. It looks like the St. Neots crew haven't let the Germans move away from them. It is a young crew in the early 20s, the boys in the St. Neots crew, Nick Shorten, Max Taylor, Tom Colbert and Bryce Taylor up in the bow seat. Bryce Taylor, Tom Colbert, their ergs about 6.25, 6.20, so solid club men, young rowers. but doing a pretty good job here to stay composed in what's been a very difficult race so far.
Yeah, and a lot of looking around from the bow guy in St. Neots. I think that's half because he's worried about the steering and where the other crew is, but half because they've actually started making up some ground, and he's wondering how long they've got to go and whether they can outsprint them.
Yeah, we can see in the bow seat there, Bryce Taylor from St. Neots. He can see that they're close to those German oars. The other rowers in his crew might not be able to see that, although you'd see their puddles and you can certainly feel the bounce from a crew next to you and no doubt hear the noise. But he's
a warning for the German crew there to move over as well.
Yeah, so both crews really struggling here with their course. Probably both in the middle of the course at the moment rather than in their stations, but the Germans just holding on, and it's going to get close. There could be a collision here.
He's taken off the bow number, hit the bows. The German crew's hit the bows, so this umpire is going to have to keep a careful eye on where both crews are at the moment.
But it definitely looks like the St. Neots crew, as they come down towards us, that was in the wrong there. The Germans just get across the line ahead, but boy, a bit of drama as they came past the enclosure. And we have a result there in the Wyfold. Although there was a little collision here, the Germans were still victorious. It was the St. Neots crew that moved on to their station. Perhaps if the result had been the other way, we might have seen a protest.
That's why I'd hate to be an umpire. Just making those decisions in situations like that. I like it to be clear cut, and that was, I would just hate to kind of have to watch that and know that the decision's going to rest on me. But you know, a tough race from both crews because both were really struggling with. I think it was the combination of the wash, and then they both had to start correcting, and from then on they were both kind of correcting into each other the whole race.